Welcome to another edition of 42 Straight Years In. On my crackhead update, we had EMS out here again early this morning. I was woken up by red light flashing, so I stepped out on the patio. This time it wasn't a fire. Somebody was actually sick, and they was transporting them to Baylor Hospital, which is about 5 city blocks from where I live. That's my crackhead update. Y'all know what it is. Get your shanks out and let's get ready to ride. Yesterday I posted a video called, it was titled Second Chance, in relation to secondlooktexas.org. A law they want to get changed concerning youthful offenders. I noticed in the comment section, no one actually agreed on punishment for young guys. A lot of people agree that they need to be punished, but very few could come up with a definite sentence these guys should receive for capital murder. For one thing, we know it was by design, and they intentionally, knowingly killed that lady. They know exactly what they were doing. So being young has no excuse. When you're born, you had, by your innate nature, you know not to kill your mother. Nobody ain't got to teach you that. Well, off that topic, on to something else, even though that's as important as what I'm going to speak on. I'm going to talk about a little Texas history, Texas prison history, that most people either had to be an old timer or keep up with Texas prison history. If you're a prison administrator, you got to be working in Texas prison prior to 1984. All the red brick prisons in Texas had a radio station that was manned by the inmates. All red brick prisons had an inmate radio station. It depends on what prison you was at, how that radio station was utilized. Sometimes they play music all during the day. Sometimes it's on the weekend only. You can request different songs, dedicate songs to someone, and they'll do it for you. But all Texas red brick prisons had radio stations. Also, all wardens had houseboys who work at their house around their family. Their wives did not have to do anything. There was an inmate there to wash their clothes, cook, clean, make their bed up. She didn't have to do anything. They were called houseboys. They stopped that practice. Also, the warden's wife, a lieutenant and above, his wife could request food from the inmate dining room. Back then, the meat arrived, it was butchered at the prison. It wasn't like it now, it's butchered at the packing house and trucked to the prison. Then it was different. Whole sides of beef, pork, all that came in, and the inmates butchered it at that particular prison. The wife could request a food supplement depending on how many was in the family. I forgot the poundage, but they went by pounds. They stopped that practice. Also, if you was a lieutenant and above, you lived in prison housing. Your rent was $25 a month. All utilities and all that was free. You didn't pay utilities. $25 a month. Also, Texas prison, as It's one of the only prisons that allowed inmates to go on furloughs. With a life sentence, you could go on a furlough. At first, it started out 5 days furlough. Then it was increased to 7 days. Your family could come to the prison, pick you up, and bring you back. Now, if you didn't have a ride, if someone was from your hometown and their family agreed to give you a ride, you could ride with that family. Now, the warden will specifically tell you when your date to come back to prison and you don't have a ride, to call the prison and he'll send someone to pick you up to keep you from getting an escape charge. Now, inmates messed that program up. You know, sometimes the guy will go back to his hometown, and I mean, he's free, man. He just want to walk around. And a cop would see him and know, hey, I sent this guy to prison. He had a 50-year sentence. What in the hell is he walking around for? And he would report him as escape. Find out he'd been furloughed by the prison system. But that ain't what screwed the program up. Inmates was going out committing crimes, getting them a hustle, putting that money on the inmate trust fund. When they come back to prison, the money's already there. That's what screwed that program up. I went on 2 of those furloughs myself. Dude asked me, say, well, why you didn't escape? Well, number one, it put my mother under the gun. I got to take my own licks. I can't see her getting locked up because I can't handle prison life. Then, when they was doing that, inmates wasn't spending no exceptionally long time in prison. Now, there's so many guys in Texas prison past 25 years. That's a regular sentence around. It's so many guys been locked up longer than 25 years. Back then, it wasn't. If you found a guy been in prison 25 years, you know for a fact, either he was a mass SEX offender, or he's a mass murderer, or some kind of way his offense involved law enforcement. That was the only way you was going to stay there a long time. No one stayed in Texas prison a long time. A guy with a life sentence on the average, they was going to do 15 years at the most. You came up for parole in 9 years. You was eligible for parole on life. And no one was being kept in prison like they are now. Now, they will keep you there until you die. You ain't even got to think about parole. It's like a roll in the dice. You don't know what they're going to hit on. Also, the work boots that we used to wear was made out of real pigskin. They were orange, not black. The socks that we used to wear were blue. Now they're solid white. They were blue back in the day. Also, shirt, if you worked in the fields, this is how ass back with Texas prison is. If you worked in the field, they did not allow you to have a long sleeve shirt. Better not have no long sleeve shirt on. You had to have a short sleeve shirt on. And your shirt had a front pocket. Your pants had 2 front pockets and 2 back pockets. Now they got unisex clothes. The same clothes the men wear, the female prisoners wear the same thing. They're unisex. There's no front pockets. Got 1 back pocket on the pants and 1 front pocket on the shirt. It looked like a medical smock. That's what a Texas prison shirt looked like. Just like a medical smock. And also, most people know about eat all you want, but eat all you take. That was a standing rule in Texas prison. You could eat much as you want, but you had to eat everything on that tray. Guys, they know that we used to eat with metal spoons and a fork. It was made out of metal. Some prisons got butter knives. The trays were made out of stainless steel, along with the cups and the pitchers that were sitting on the table. They were stainless steel. Another thing most guys didn't know about leaving out of the chow hall. When you leaving out, you had to hold, it's a turnkey standing right there where the tray go in. Gotta hold your knife, spoon, and fork up in the air like this so he can see it. Then you put it in the pan, then you put your tray through the slot. If you do not hold your silverware up, they was gonna break you off real proper in that dining room. A lot of inmates, you had been locked up a long time to witness something like that. But you had to hold your eating utensils up in the air where that turnkey standing there can actually see it. That you're not taking a spoon and a fork out of that dining room and you put it in the pan. But it was ways to get around it. Like I said, it was easy to make a shank. Easy. Back in the day, they didn't do no searching like they do now, cell search. Wasn't no such thing as a cell search. There wasn't no such thing as a lockdown. They did not do a lockdown. If a guy escaped, all they would do, make all the inmates go to their cell and they would count. And they resumed normal operation after that. They just want to make sure they know who's missing. But there was no such thing as a cell search. And different prison, you could have different things in your cell. At East Sam, you could have animals. Now, Ramsey didn't allow that. But Ramsey allowed you to have craft material in your cell. Sharp-ass leather scalpels that you cut leather with. You could have that in your cell. You did all your leather work inside of the cell. At other prisons, you got caught with any of that type of craft material, you was going straight to solitary confinement for possession of a weapon. Ramsey was totally different. You can have it on Ramsey. You couldn't have it on East Sam. But East Sam guys had puppies, cats, turtles, snakes, all type of stuff in their cell. They didn't even care. It sounded like a zoo at East Sam sometimes. Raccoons, birds. They didn't give a shit at East Sam. Ramsey didn't allow that. Cat wasn't going to allow no such thing. Now, one guy, somebody in the comment section asked me, how was a Bearcat? How was Bearcat compared to his son? I think that's what he said. No, how was Old Lord compared to his son? His son is Warden McAdams. That was his son. Well, there's a difference. Old Lord will shoot you, and his son will beat you to death. Two different type of people. Yeah. He was called Bear Track because he got big ass feet. He got zero tolerance with inmates. I'm talking about zero tolerance. You deal with this man, you finna come up on the short end of the stick. Well-known wards like Bear Track, Wildcat, Macmillan. He was the warden at East Sam when I first arrived in prison. In 1975, that's who the warden was. And they don't babysit no inmates at all. One thing I like about them, they would tell you this: defend yourself. You couldn't get a modern warden to tell you that. No, one of these modern wardens, you even tell a classification committee, that guy bothers me, I know what to do for him. Man, they'll put you in lockup. You better not even say that in front of no classification committee. You tell one of them new wardens that, you history. You just received a major disciplinary case for threatening an unknown inmate and staff. Might go to SEG for it. Depends on what mood that classification committee in. So now it's totally different. Me, if I had a choice, it was some good points under that system. At least you could go home. That was one of the good points. Under this system, the brutality is not bad. You can maybe walk up and slap a warden. You won't even get assaulted. You might get touched up very lightly and placed in pre-hearing detention. You're going to go to administrative segregation. it's a possibility you're going to get an indictment. But you ain't going to get stomped out. You know, back then, you could assault one of those wards if you had the nuts to do it. You know something about them. They wouldn't let the inmate guards beat you up. That was mighty strange. Now, I ain't never saw no one assault Cat. Now, I've been in the gym before, basketball practice. Cat came in there and took his shirt off and started hooping with us. And he fouled a guy, and the guy cursed him out. I'm talking about cursed him out like he was an inmate. Cat didn't even get mad. Because he not a warden now. He hooping with the inmates. And the guy actually talked sideways to Cat and got away with it. Now I have seen several wardens get beat up. Nothing happened to the inmate. I have hit one of them in the mouth. A warden Savage at Eastham. I didn't get, well, it started out I was getting beat up, then he stopped it. Took me in the office. They put me in solitary, but that was the end of it. And that was rare at Eastham. But if you had nuts to stand up to him, for some reason, they respected a guy who had some nuts. And you know, in dealing with Cat, those are the only type of inmates that was all right with him. If you wasn't that type of inmate, you ain't have nothing coming dealing with Cat. He liked people who were bold. You don't want to deal with no crybabies. You know, my internet, I finally got AT&T, but I'm going to have to use a UBS cable to get my upload. Man, it took me yesterday 5 hours to upload that one little small video. That's why today I'm going to kind of keep it short, because I'm going to try it with a UBS cable. I looked online and said that would speed your internet up if you use a direct hookup. Y'all follow me over on Patreon. That's where I get raw and uncut. Smash up that like button. It don't cost you nothing. Y'all like and subscribe. And I thank you for watching.